what are the common mistakes that, we should apply when applying for a B1B2 visa?
So there are a few common mistakes. First, for the B1B2 travelers, their inability to describe the purpose of travel. So a lot of applicants struggle with clearly articulating their purpose of their business-related trip, such as conferences, training, meetings. It can lead to a lot of confusion when the description of what you're going to do doesn't come with an agenda or is not very clear to the officer. So that's the number one thing, is lack of clarity on what you're actually going to be doing. A general timeline instead of a specific timeline. You can't say 1 to 3 weeks for a business meeting. Like, you should know that. So the more specific and articulate you are, the better chance you're going to have. So again, have a specific time frame. Applicants may not have a definite time frame for their stay in the US, or their proposed time frame might not align logically to their stated purpose of travel. So that's a common mistake, meaning you say you want to go for a conference, but then you tell the officer you're staying for 1 month. You don't need to stay in the US for 1 month if you're just going for a conference. So make sure that you are making sense. So the second mistake is that they're not really connecting the dots for the officer, or the time frame and their purpose of travel are not making sense. So that's a common mistake. So providing generic answers, that's a third mistake. Offering vague or generic responses during the visa interview can raise doubts about the authenticity of your application and your honesty. So if there's a mismatch between the purpose of travel and the work profile that you do, the purpose of travel and business reasons should align. So when I worked in New Delhi and I had a coder that maybe only had 1 to 2 years of work experience, when they're telling me they're attending a specific conference, for me as an officer, that may not make sense if the conference is a very high level conference. So this could be that there is an authentic reason for them wanting to go, but they need to be aware that the officer is going to look at their profile and what they're going to do, and that should match up. A coder with 1 or 2 years of work experience doing high-level meetings may not make sense. Now, it could be truthful, but you need to be aware that this is going to raise a red flag to the officer, so you need to be prepared. You need to have an agenda, and you need to explain why it's you giving that presentation. Maybe you have a technical skill, or you're an SME, or you went to an IIT. The officer may not know what an IIT is. If we're talking about India specifically, I mean, that's a top school. So you need to really spell it out for officers. They may not be as culturally aware as you think they are.